The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
Welcome back to Cherry Picking, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Now, before we get going, hit the like, the subscribe, and the bell button below. It helps this channel to grow. Now, of course, I've got my main man next to me. I've got Mr. Matthew Harrison. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good. Glad the international break's over. Looking forward to Premier League football, but yeah. It's just something about Saturday night football, isn't it? It's just funny kickoff time, isn't it? 8:00. But
Stupid, isn't it?
yeah, looking forward to it. And yeah, I see we've got a little guest with us.
Yes, we have. And of course, that guest, you'll recognise him very well. Mr. Max Cowlard. How you doing, Max?
Yeah, brilliant, mate. How about you?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Good to see you again. And looking forward to Saturday. So, I'll tell you what. Let's tell everybody what is coming up on today's show. So, what is on Cherry Picking this week? So, of course, we got our weekly game, Guess the Cherry. You could have guessed that one, couldn't you? We've also got a little bit about Adam Smith signing a new contract until 2026. So, great to see Adam is extending his time at AFC Bournemouth. Cherries are strengthening, though, with 2 ex-Arsenal youth players. We'll tell you more in a bit. We've also got our link to an ex-Lille star as well. We're also talking about our Mexican right back, Arejo, and how he was never part of Barca's plans for the future. We're also going to do a big feature on Chelsea, and that's why they call it the Blues. There we are. We are a musical channel after all. So we're going to remember all our wins against Chelsea. Chelsea fans, you might want to look away there now, because we're going to enjoy every moment of it. And we're also going to discuss right at the very end whether or not we can beat Chelsea again and get another famous win. So that's all coming up on this week's Cherry Picking. There we go. I'll tell you what, I could be a presenter, couldn't I, one day? You know, always.
But haven't we got to give the sponsors a mention at this point?
Yeah, I think we should do. So here's a little bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. find out more about them, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk. So, I tell you what, why don't we start off with our weekly game, Matt? Shall we do that?
Yeah, let's crack on with
Right.
that then.
Let's bring it
Definitely.
up. Let's bring it up. So, here it comes.
Oh,
Oh,
there we go.
there we
Right.
go.
This week's Guess the Cherry then.
So,
Are you
go
going
on.
or am I going?
You go for it, Matt. You go for
Right. I'm used to going for it, so I just started, but
it.
looked like you were talking over me there.
No,
But hey
that's all right.
ho. Cool. Right, first clue. Born in Reading in 1986. Signed for the Cherries from Hampton and Richmond. He played 130 times for the Cherries, hitting the net 3 times. Eddie Howe paid in the region of £350,000 to take him to Burnley. Finished his playing days in Scotland with Livingston. And at the time of this being produced, this when I was producing this game over the summer, he was the manager of Queen of the South, but I believe he's now no longer the manager there. So I think he's doing punditry work up there now. But yeah, that's the clues. And we'll let you know who it is at the end of the show.
Yes. Yep. So there we are. There is all the clues for Guess the Cherry. And by all means, leave your comments in the description box below. And there is no points. It's not me. It's not me. You know, I know I was born in Reading, but don't put me down. Right. Okay, guys? There we are. How about we move on to our first feature, which is about somebody who has won 2 promotions with this football club to the Premier League, and he's extending his stay. Adam Smith is extending his deal until 2026. So here we go. AFC Bournemouth are delighted to announce legendary defender Adam Smith has agreed a 1-year contract extension with the club. The fullback has put pen to paper on a deal to keep him at the Vitality Stadium until at least the summer of 2026. Smith has played an integral role in the club's recent history, twice winning promotion to the Premier League and featuring 379 times for the Cherries in all competitions. Not many players get to do that for one club. The 33-year-old told the official website, "I'm absolutely delighted to stay here for another season. I feel absolutely amazing. To be honest, and the journey continues." Smith first represented the Cherries during the 2010-2011 season while on loan from Spurs. He helped the club reach the League One playoffs after a 6th-place finish in the division, returning to AFC Bournemouth as a permanent signing in 2014 and reaching the top flight the following campaign. A total of 212 of Smith's games for the Cherries have come in the Premier League. He's played 31 times in all competitions last season as Andoni Iraola's side recorded a club record points tally of 48 in the top flight. "I think it was what I needed when the gaffer came in. Something different," said Smith. "A different style of play. I think the age I'm at, it really suits the way I play at the moment. The front foot pressing. Since he's come in, he has been amazing, and hopefully we can have an even better season." So that's Adam Smith's words. And I think it's probably one of the best squads I've played in over these years. So much talent, all still very young, with lots of improvements. It's very exciting times. First team technical director Simon Francis, so Frano, of course, played with him for years and years and years. We are absolutely delighted to extend Adam's contract here at AFC Bournemouth. It is a deserved reward for his hard work and his quality over a long period of time. I know the consistently high levels of professionalism he brings to the club each day. He will be an important part of our squad on and off the pitch over the next 2 seasons. Do you know what? I'm absolutely delighted about this. This is a brilliant piece of business, because the thing is I think that, he's just so dependable. There was a time, at the end of Gary O'Neill's spell at the club, that I thought maybe he's losing his pace. Maybe um, but Andoni Iraola again has got the best out of him, and he's a good lad. I've met him personally on a number of occasions. Both close to the football club and away from the football club. He's a smashing guy, very quiet, but very dedicated to the cause, but always pleasant. And he's the sort of person you can imagine after he hangs up his boots will become what Simon Francis has, following those sort of footsteps. And he's such a big part of this football club.
Yeah, I mean, well, as you can see behind me here, I'm a fan of Smithies, always has been, and yeah, I agree with you. Towards the end of Gary O'Neill's time at the club, it times he did look like maybe has he got many more seasons in him, but I thought he had a very good solid season last year. Obviously, he's very happy with the style of play that Iraola plays. It suits him at his age, and not just that. There's experience. Is we have got quite a young squad across the board, and his experience of obviously those 270 odd Premier League games is going to be vital. So, I mean, he'd be an asset, as he already is, off the pitch just as much on it. But yeah, I'd imagine you're probably right. I would imagine that there will be some position for him once he finishes his playing career, if he wants to carry on with a career in football. But yeah, really happy, really happy. And all I will say is, where's his testimonial? He needs a testimonial. He's been a great servant. I mean, Cookie missed out on it. Unfortunately, another player that should have had one. But this guy definitely deserves a testimonial. So hopefully now he's signed his deal, at some point we may hear of an Adam Smith testimonial.
Actually, on that point, and just before I let Max have a go, I think the club need to focus on, celebrating. And Harry said it. Harry Redknapp said it during that preview that I did with him. We need to celebrate the players that are, good servants, long servants to this football club. Lewis Cook is going to be going that sort of way as well, I'm sure. I'm confident Lewis Cook will follow Smithy's path. But we should be celebrating the likes of Steve Cook and Frano and players like that, and also players from our history. Of course, Steve Fletcher. I know that we do celebrate Fletcher a lot more than other players, but there's also players like James Hayter that we don't really, and that's a shame, because they're big parts.
A lot more from even further back when you look at like the third division championship winning side, 86, 87, associate members cup winners, 84, be nice, and 70s, be nice to, I mean, obviously Ted McDougall's obviously, the name from the 70s that, everybody knows, but yeah, you're right. I think, we should celebrate the players a lot more. Definitely.
Yeah, it shouldn't just be one-off 125-year celebration where they're all, and we're selling tickets for a couple of £100 to actually only a small segment of fans. What we should be doing is we should be inviting them in to the football club. They should be always welcome, and that's something maybe we're lacking. But going back onto, sorry, I deviated away there a little bit, but going back onto the subject of Smithy, Max, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I'm glad he signed the contract to stay another summer. Obviously, it came up on my phone earlier, and I was pleased to find out about it. Yeah, he's just been a brilliant player, and hopefully, considering how well he's done so far, I'm pretty sure he'll carry it on with however long he's got left on his contract from what he signed. But yeah, But if, like what Matt said, if he could go on something at the end of the club when he finishes, like Tommy Elphick did, because he's partnered with Ariola now, and glad that he's just signed another contract because he's been brilliant over the years, helping us with promotions and the whole team and that. And I think at the back of the stadium, he deserves a night. We've got all the Bournemouth icons on the back of the stadium. He deserves one of them. I think he really does. He's done really well. He's put in the effort over the years. So yeah, he'd be a great club legend.
I think a lot of that squad doing it. I've even said, with regards to whenever we build this new stadium, I think it would be very, very good to have a list of the players that, played in that first promotion, especially to the Premier League. Have them maybe listed on a wall or something, with a statue of Eddie in front of it. But that's just my honest, opinion. Yeah. But I tell you what, let's go on to the next subject. And of course, we have signed 2 academy players let go by Arsenal. Let's bring that up. Here we go. So yeah, very, very interesting news that's coming out of Dean Court. And AFC Bournemouth confirmed late last week that they've completed the signings of Kobe Small and Teo Minchev, both previously of the Arsenal Academy. Small had spent a couple of years on a scholarship contract with Arsenal, but he was released this summer after only making 4 appearances for the Gunners under-18s last season. The centre-back had struggled with injuries early on in the 23-24 campaign, and after a brief return to the team in January and February, the decision was made to let him go. Let's go on to this bit. So we are really pleased to bring in Kobe. Bournemouth Academy manager Alan Connell said. He trained with us for a few weeks during pre-season and impressed, especially in a friendly against Southampton. He's a really focused young man who wants to improve his game, and we think he's got the potential to do that with us. Now it's up to myself and the staff, and most importantly, Kobe, to maximise his potential, and we are excited to see how he gets on. As for Minchev, the defender was most recently on the books with Swansea City, having been released by Arsenal last summer. The Gunners opted not to hand him a scholarship contract, prompting his move to Wales, but he's now returning to England with Bournemouth. Teo is an excellent character to add to the group, Bournemouth's under-18s boss, James Lowy, said. When he came away with us as a trialist during pre-season, he fitted in really well with the players and was brilliant around the staff. So I'll tell you what, let's touch on that, quickly, because I've been to, of course, I went up to Arsenal. I've had a look around the place, and it's such an impressive setup. But you imagine how many players that football club has got coming through the door. It's so difficult. It's so difficult to become a professional footballer in the first place, but especially at a club like Arsenal, you've got to be special to even be in there. You've got to be special. To be honest, I wasn't a bad footballer, but no way could I have got anywhere near that. And what's the raised eyebrows for there?
I raise eyebrows.
Oh, I saw it there. There's Matt thinking, well, actually, you're a bit shit on the pitch.
You remember them days at Little Down, don't we, Craig?
Oh, yeah. The ball swerving it in, top curler into Sam, getting straight onto his head. Bosh, in the back of the net.
No, what I was going to say about being special to get in the club at Arsenal, Neto, I'm pretty sure he's gone there now, isn't he?
He has gone to Arsenal, yeah,
so
he has gone.
He was good enough for us. If they want to sign him, is he a backup? Because they play rare, don't they?
Yes, yeah, they're playing rare, but I think this is a great bit of business for us because, I think these 2 youngsters, they've got to be good. But as you were going to say, Matt, I thought you was going to sing my praises there for a moment, and then Max jumped in. I wanted you to say, yeah, I thought there was some fantastic performances you put in, but I do question whether or not you were going to go down that path.
Yeah, let's keep. Let's stay on the subject with these two kiddies that have signed. I reckon.
Yeah, I think so.
Might be safest.
Yeah. I'll shut up. I'm better at interviewing than I am bloody football, I think now. I am 38, for God's sake, and I've got 2 dodgy ankles after falling off a curb, and I wasn't pissed. Well, not that pissed, but yeah, go on, carry on, Matt.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just think it's I mean, the club over the years obviously has always kind of survived on players that have not made it at big clubs, and I think even with the academy set up with how it is now, the grade it's at the moment, I think we will still at times be taking players that don't make it at the bigger clubs because
Yeah.
and the way that we've always nurtured players here, I think players from the players' perspective, it's not a bad move at all, is it? They're getting a second crack of the whip in an academy system at a Premier League club. So, I think the way that the club also looks to recruit players as well, it's not a case that they're just taking the 2 lads because they've got a background of being at Arsenal. Like they say, with their from the sounds of it, their maturity and the way that they've been around the staff and the playing squad sounds like they fit in. And yeah, it looks like that, the likes of Alan Connell and that can, work on their game and develop them as players. And you never know, they may not make it at Bournemouth, but it might be a case of, you look at someone like Kilkenny, he's come through, he's got into the squad. Okay, he's not played a lot of first team action for Bournemouth, but he's come in at the youth stage. He's sort of tried to break in and semi broke into the first team, but then the club's sold him on. So you never know. One of these players, and I think that's one of, from what I've read and heard from when Bill Foley speaks and stuff, it sounds like that he wants the club to develop their own players to sell on as well as produce for the first team itself. So yeah, good bit of business probably in the long run. But yeah, wish the 2 lads all the best, and I'm sure that they'll be a great asset for the academy while they're there.
Yeah, definitely. And this is something that I spoke to Kieran Maguire about a little while back, is that with this new training ground at Canford Magna, it probably is going to be something they're going to look to do is get a Category 1 academy. Now, to do that, yeah, it's a lot of money because, traditionally from this area, of course, players were getting gobbled up by Southampton. The best players. What we want to do is be able to attract the best players from, we've got such a wide catchment area. So this is good. And, really looking to the future. But I tell you what, let's talk about this Lille Star because, of course, there's a lot going on about this. And to be honest, I'm going to be honest, I don't know that much. So it says here, Leicester City hope to reach an agreement quickly for free agent. Everton and Bournemouth also in the picture. So, 3 Premier League teams after him. There's got to be some reason why. Leicester City, Everton, and AFC Bournemouth are all in the picture to sign Youssef Yaziki. I think that's how it's pronounced, but have I done all right?
I think that's right, yeah. But then again, I'm not the best at pronunciation, as you well know.
Hang on, let me just get on the phone to Mark McAdam. He gets it right every single time. Honestly, he's the person I go to. So the attacking midfielder has been without a club since his deal at Lille expired on June the 30th. He could settle down in the Premier League, where Leicester's Sean Dyche's side and Bournemouth are among his options. It's claimed Steve Cooper's side are particularly interested in the 27-year-old. The report further adds Leicester have open talks with his entourage, hoping to reach an agreement quickly. The Foxes would face stiff competition from both Everton and the Cherries. As the report says, the two clubs are also interested in the Turkey international. They'll have to act quickly because Leicester have already made contact to sign him for free. Since Yazicis is currently a free agent, the three English clubs can sign him outside the transfer window. There is no mention of his preference between Leicester, Everton and Bournemouth. The player scored 12 goals and registered 4 assists from 42 games in all competitions for Lille last season. This is a weird one. It's a very, very weird one because, and I'll tell you why. And I'll be completely honest. That's quite a good goal return. That's a good goal return. Now, normally when players are let go from clubs, it's got to be one of two things. Now, firstly, it could be that, he's not happy with what Lille have offered for a new contract. And that's fair enough. He's let his contract expire, but you'd expect him to have been snapped up by now. Or there's some other issue. Maybe it's discipline. It could be like that. Why the club haven't, made that offer. I don't know much about the story. I've got to be honest. I don't know much about the player, but that goal return is not bad, and out of the three clubs, and tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Tell me if I'm wrong. We surely have got to be his preference because, Everton are in an absolute whirlwind state. You've got Leicester, who have just recently been promoted. We're the club that is stable.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point. I mean, Max, you have a go. You go first before me.
Well, what's this for?
Yazici.
I mean, looking at the statistics of the page you've just shown, 12 goals in 42. He must be quite decent, if there's more than one Premier League club after him. So, if he was to sign, then it'd be good to see how he plays. See if he bonds with the team or fits in well. But yeah, it would be interesting to see whether if we sign him or not. So yeah.
Because when you look at his record, he's got a very good record in terms of, like you say, goal return. I mean, in terms of Lille, he's played over 100 games, scoring 29 goals, and he's an attacking midfielder / forward. And I mean, as a career total, I mean, I think he's played about 260 something games with a goal return of 63. So, I mean, he seems to be a decent player. I don't know too much about him. In terms of, club preference, it's one of those, isn't it? It's okay. He hasn't played for any real superstar club, has he? Is it Trab? How do you say it?
Trabzonspor.
Trabzonspor. Well, that's where he started out, and he's also had loans.
That's Turkey. That's Turkey. Yeah, I think they did a fairly decent side in Turkey, to be honest.
He is a Turkish international as well, and I think he's got like over between 40 and 60 caps. I think he's got for Turkey. So, and obviously, with you now at the club, he could be quite a good addition. But you look at Leicester, Everton, and ourselves all in the market now. Not being biased, with Leicester just coming up, it's always a risk that they potentially may go down. Everton is just a complete mess by the looks of things, and then. Yeah, so not being biased, but I would say we would be the more favourable club. But then at the end of the day, I suppose it depends on the length of deal that the clubs are offering. And how much money. I mean, at the end of the day, let's not be daft. It is about money as well. So it will depend on several things. But from what I've read today, this evening, sorry, should I say, it does look like that Leicester seem to be favourites to sign him. So, yeah, again, you've got to ask yourself from our perspective, where does he fit in our squad?
That's the thing for me.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's do we want to bring another player in who is going to struggle for game time, or is he going to come in here and actually earn be good enough to dislodge what we've already got? Is he is he going to be good enough to dislodge Semenyo?
In the team.
Is he going to be good enough to dislodge Semenyo or Cliver or Sinistera? We've got so many good attacking players in the side. It's a question of balance, isn't it, as well?
That's what I was going to say. Is I think we're at that tipping point now, aren't we? Where to get improvements on what we've already got, it is going to cost quite a bit of money in the transfer market. Now, the thing is we could bring this guy in, but if he's getting no game time, that's not what he's coming to the Premier League for. If you want my honest opinion about the three teams where he's most likely to play, and this might surprise you, I think it's Everton, because I think Everton in that particular area is struggling probably more than Leicester are. We're not struggling in that area at all. So he's got to really make his mind up where he's going to get the most game time. Of course, money's going to come into it. Andoni Iraola might have further plans for him, but yeah, we'll have to really see on that. But his stats look pretty good.
His stats do look pretty decent. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you look across the board on his stats, they do look, like you say, pretty decent. But for me, I think it's for me, I reckon there's a lot of paper talk in it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't know how much truth's in it. It doesn't really say that the article there didn't really say anything about, Bournemouth's representatives have been in contact with his or anything like that, does it? So
no.
I don't know, maybe we're just being linked to it to boost and bulk the story up a little bit.
What I was going to say is there's a difference because where he's played in Ligue 1 and I reckon probably the Premier League's a harder league than Ligue 1, isn't it? To be honest,
massively.
Yeah.
So,
I think in Ligue 1 you've got a little bit of a monopoly between two clubs in particular. And throw any more in there if you think, but I think PSG and Marseille are probably the two which really stand out to me as the ones so much further ahead of everybody else. But I tell you what, let's move on to our next subject, which is our Mexican right back, and here we go.
Bit of a slap in the face, I think, this one.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. So Barcelona director of football Deco Orejo was not part of our plans. Barcelona director of football Deco may have sent an unintended swipe at Bournemouth's Julian Orejo by hinting he wasn't considered a key player for them. On the face of it, his departure is not all that surprising, but eyebrows could certainly have been raised by Give Deco, and indeed the rest of the club had been publicly stating that youngsters would not be sold to help balance the books. That wasn't the case with Orejo, but now Deco has hinted the Bournemouth man was never really part of their long-term plans anyway. The idea was that if the young players worked, we didn't have to go to market so much, he says. We had to find the balance and know what would be missing. And I think we found it. Like the signing of Dani Olmo, which gives us balance in the centre of the field, has different profile. We gained offensive quality. There were offers for several of our players, but we were clear that we didn't want to lose important footballers. If we are building a team, we could not undo it. We had to increase the level of not lowering it, and selling some important footballer is lowering it. We couldn't fall into the temptation of selling, but it wasn't easy. Not selling is very complicated because you can't buy. But we were very clear that the important thing was not to sell to the important players and know what we had at home. I do apologise about skipping over some of my words there. Deco and Arejo, that was a little bit of a tongue twister there. Put nicely, put nicely. Yeah, it's a little bit of a slap in the face, isn't it? But I personally think Barcelona, again, are one of those clubs where there is so much quality that comes through. You don't know what's happened behind the scenes there. And Arejo, since he's been here, has seemed very, very happy. He seems to get on very well with Andoni Iraola. In everyday life, not everybody is going to get on with everybody else. And this could be one of those cases. I don't think it. It doesn't feel like it was needed to, kind of single him out really, which feels like what Deco has kind of done. But yeah, Barcelona's always going to be a difficult place to break through, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a similar thing to the two lads from Arsenal we were just talking about.
Yeah.
The difference is with the pronunciation. Here we go. Can't pronounce it. God's sake. Arejo.
It's a silent J, supposedly.
It's I thought it was a Araujo, isn't it?
Arejo. Anyway.
Arejo.
Anyway, he's he when you look at his career, he had a very, very productive time at LA Galaxy. Okay, another one where people say, it's a Mickey Mouse league, it's this, it's that. But I mean, to play over 100 times for them at that level at his age is pretty decent, to be fair.
Yeah.
Obviously, Barcelona scouts must have been all over it and seen his performances, thought he was one that was a possibility for the future. They've brought him in for a season, and for that season, he was loaned out anyway. And they've probably monitored his development. I can't remember where he went on loan to. It was another Spanish club, wasn't it?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was.
Max. Yeah,
it was Las Palmas.
Thank you.
Las Palmas in Gran Canaria.
Yeah, I've been there 4 times.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah.
Sorry, moving on. Go on.
I forgot this was an episode of Wish You Were Here. But anyway, so moving on. Yeah, so, it's from Barcelona's, perspective. I don't know how much they paid for him. Max, how much they paid for him, Barcelona?
Yeah, I think it was around, was it like 12 million euros, wasn't it?
What, when they brought him from Galaxy? LA Galaxy?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, right. Anyway, I'm sure with it was 8 million, wasn't it, that we paid for him? So I'm sure, Barcelona have done a bit of good business there as well.
Yeah.
And it's just, similar to like, the two Arsenal guys that have joined us, isn't it? They've come here and, they didn't work out at Arsenal. They've moved on. And, one day again, it might be a case where Bournemouth, get a decent offer for them and Bournemouth sell them on. It's just part of the business, isn't it, really? And for Barcelona, if they didn't think he was going to be a good fit long term, they've made £8 million out of it. And he's at Bournemouth, and I think he's going to be an asset here. I mean, his pace is fantastic. Okay, I know he's a right back, and I mean his tackling. Look at the tackle he put in at Everton. Yeah. I mean, he's I know we've just signed Smithy, and we're all happy, with that. We've got Marin's competition right back is. Oh, sorry, I disappeared there. Hello, am I back?
You're back. You're back.
I'm back.
You're back.
Yeah, so
you're back.
right back.
You are right back. You are right back. Yeah, you're right back. You're right back.
Right back. We're talking about a right back and a right back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, competition for right back is really really strong. It's probably one of the strongest positions across the pitch for us, isn't it? Really, in terms of because any of them could be first choice really. And yes, Max, 4 million. So 4 million. Max has just told me 4 million that Barcelona paid for him, and so they've made 4 million on it. So it's good business, isn't it? It's all business at the end of the day. And
Yeah.
Barcelona's 8 million that they've made is Bournemouth's gain, isn't it? Really.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, no, not bad at all. Not bad at all. So,
Thank you, Sato Max, for doing your research there. Thank you very much.
yeah, I'll tell you what.
Oh, you're welcome.
We even talked a little bit about holiday locations like Gran Canaria, Mas Palomas, Playa del Ingles. My childhood was spent there. Faro 2, which was like a shopping centre. It used to have arcades and all sorts in there. Yeah, let's move on. All right, come on. Let's talk about Chelsea.
Just before we do move on, right? Max has got a microphone and we haven't. I've just dropped that. Where did you get that from? It's all glowing funny colours, isn't it?
I
Yeah,
tell
I
you
know,
what,
yeah.
it's fancy, isn't it?
We ordered it off Amazon. It was only something like 20 quid or so, but it's a proper one. It's like LEDs in it. I can turn the volume down on it and that. So
yeah, just turn the volume to silent for the rest of the show if you can.
you're welcome.
No, I like that. I like that. I might have to invest in that. Although saying that, what I do, I've tried it with a microphone before. I just stick it right to the front of my face, and I can't, I sound like a bloody Dalek. So yeah, I quite like this headset. Anyway, I'll tell you what. Moving swiftly on. Let's talk about wins against Chelsea. Now, if there's any Chelsea fans watching, we're not going to apologise. We're going to savour every moment, but you might want to close your eyes now and ears. Here we are. This is why they call it the Blues. So, of course, the first win against Chelsea in the Premier League, and we've been their Achilles heel ever since, was on the 5th of December 2015. And there we have it.
What a game.
Oh, I'll tell you what, went absolutely mental.
Yeah, I mean, I do love the trip to Stamford Bridge, and I mean, Stamford Bridge, it's one of those stadiums that it's got a lot of history to it, even though it's been modernised. I know it sounds a bit stupid, but I mean, my dad has been to Chelsea quite a few times over the years, and he saw the old shed, for example. I think he actually stood in the old shed at one point. And yeah, it's just a stadium that's got character about it. But I mean, this game here was, well, it heaped some pressure on Mr. Mourinho, if I'm not mistaken at the time. I think it was Mourinho in charge, if I remember rightly. And
was it his last game?
Do you know what? It might have been, actually.
It was Mourinho, then it went Conte.
That's right, yeah. I think it might have been his. If not, it definitely heaped the pressure on him. But Bournemouth at that time, I don't know if this still stands now, but Bournemouth were the first promoted side to beat Chelsea at home since Charlton did it in April 2001. And at the time, I think that was another bad season for Chelsea, because they kind of sort of, I think they were reigning champions at the time as well, weren't they?
That's when they finished. Were, yeah. That when they finished 10th, wasn't it?
Well, at that time they were 14th, and I think they were like 10 points adrift of Champions League places or something like that. So yeah, but I mean, the game was going on, and you're kind of there thinking, we've got to get a point out of this, because I mean they had some quality players at the time. I mean, I think Diego Costa didn't play that day, but he was part of the squad. But players like Fabregas and Courtois, the keeper.
Yeah.
I think Cahill was Cahill still there then?
I'm sure Cahill was
I
there.
think Cahill was actually maybe captain.
Hazard,
Yeah, I'm sure he played.
Gas, all of them.
You know, and all I can, and apart from obviously what happened in the 82nd minute or the 87th minute, something like that.
82nd,
All
82nd.
I can remember
Murray.
was Arta having a good game stuck out for me for some strange reason. But yeah, it's one of those. It's just one of those moments where the underdogs have grinded and stuck together and grinded the win out. And yeah, I mean, Glenn Murray, okay, I think when he come to Bournemouth, I think he was promised probably a little bit more than what actually materialised. I think he was kind of maybe promised as a starter.
Yeah.
He was kind of a bit player for us, wasn't he, Murray?
Mhm.
I don't think he was, the most popular player we've ever had on the books, but he'll always be remembered for that goal.
Yeah.
Another thing I was going to say about Murray is he come on as a sub and he hadn't even been on the pitch come on in the 81st minute and he hadn't been on the pitch for 60 seconds and Cook put a ball in and he headed it in. So he was a sub for Josh King in that game as well.
99 seconds.
Mhm.
Oh, was it 99?
99 seconds, according to a stat. But
Was it?
yeah. And at the time, they were unbeaten, I think, for like 40 odd games in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not the greatest of seasons for
That was a 5:30 kickoff as well.
Chelsea. But yeah, great memory of that one.
And
Keep a
of
clean
course,
sheet as well. That's quite big as well.
Clean sheet, yes, obviously, yeah.
this was a period as well. Of course, the following game we played Manchester United at home from memory, and it was
Yes,
a
we
2-1
did.
win,
Yes,
and
we did.
it was that very, very, and sorry to bring it up, but it was that very poignant moment, wasn't it? With Harry Arter,
Yeah,
which was, incredibly sad, and yeah, will forever feel for him, having been through that myself. But I think, it was two solid performances from him, in what was, such a difficult period.
massively.
So yeah, but yeah, what a win! What a win! Glenn Murray, absolutely legend.
And
Went absolutely mental.
like you say, when the Man United win the week after, I think that was Stanislas scored directly from a corner, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wynn
I
took
think it was,
The
wasn't
Wynn
it?
took it in.
Yeah, and that, I mean, those 6 points around that December time were massive for survival that season. I mean, every point was massive that we took in that season, but when you look at 6 points from the champions at the time and 6 points of a side like United, that was 2 very good weekends' work.
Yeah, no, most definitely. Well, I tell you what, let's skip on to the next game. And of course, 31st of January 2018, Chelsea 0, AFC Bournemouth 3. And yeah, what a performance this was.
Yeah. I spoke a lot about the last game. Max, do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, I watched this live as well on Sky, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it's Sky. Yeah, we were brilliant. First half, we were okay. Chelsea had more of the chances, but obviously none of the teams could find the back of net in the first half. And then second half, we just turned into prime Barcelona. Wilson with a nice through ball from Ibe was just put it straight through Courtois' legs down the middle. I'll remember that goal. Stanislas as well, cheeky nutmeg on. It was like a tiki-taka, wasn't it? Him, Ibe, and Wilson, they did a little triangle thing. And then I remember Stanislas poking it through his legs.
Yes, yeah.
And Ake was in an offside position for his goal, but he pulled himself back. And it was, who was it that assisted Ake? Stanislas went to take the shot outside the box. he knew Ake must have got like a funny feeling it was going wide because it did look wide when I was watching it live, and then he stuck a foot in, got himself back on side, and it was 3-0. And do you know what the funny thing is? I was not expecting Ake to celebrate, and he did because it's his former club. So what a night that was! That was going around the media quite a lot that week, because I was reading about it and that. But yeah, when would you ever expect us to do that away against a team like Chelsea?
We were just dominant. Like you say,
dominant. Yeah, dominant. I'll tell you another word I'd use. Dominant's a good one, but I would say our work rate that game was phenomenal. And also how aggressive we were.
I thought we were brilliant that night. I don't think it could have been any better, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games. I mean, this is the thing with Chelsea. We've had some real good performances against Chelsea, home and away. I mean, even the games that we've drawn against Chelsea, like last season, for example, we drew at home, didn't we? 0-0. That game should have been really Iriola's first win. Because, I thought at times we had the better chances.
But didn't they get 2 goals ruled out? It was like one a foul and one was offside, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure they had 2 goals ruled out.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then we hit the post in the 92nd minute from the header. I don't know who it was that headed it, but I'm pretty sure we hit the woodwork from a corner in the last minute. And then they just lofted it up the pitch.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you say, I mean, Stanislas, with that shot that Ake, was class in staying on side and diverted the ball straight in the net, and it was one of those. Is he celebrating? And he's running off, and then the arm goes up, and you're like, "Yep, he's celebrating." Fair play, scored against his former club. Some players don't like to celebrate against their former clubs, do they? And
I mean, I've seen some of them do it. They just go over to their old team fans and they just stick their hands up and like to say sorry or something.
Yeah. I mean,
just kind of respect.
I think it's a bit more respectful, like to not celebrate against your other teams, but that's just my thought on it. But I mean, at the time, didn't they have like Giroud and Morata? I mean, like Morata,
Hazard as well.
Yeah.
Isn't Morata like Spain's all-time leading goal scorer?
Yeah, I think he is actually.
He really ever settled in at Chelsea, did he?
No, he's a funny player. He's a funny player that he just couldn't find his feet there, could he? Just couldn't get. He was just poor. It was just poor. And to be honest, that season as well, and I might be wrong about this. I know we got beat at home against Chelsea that season. I think it was October.
1-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 1-0.
That's when Hazard shot near post and it hit the post and went in.
But Mark Pugh played out of his skin during that game and absolutely tore them apart. And I thought, I said to my mate, I was in the crowd, I was in, the main stand, and I said, Mark Pugh's going to get one today. And yeah, it never come, but it kind of, you can kind of understand that result considering how we played at home. That's where I'm trying to get to. Does that make sense? A bit of a roundabout way of saying
it.
But...
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, that game was the first time that Bournemouth had scored 3 goals at a top 6 side ground.
Away as well.
Yeah.
They had Hazard, Barkley, Pedro, Kante, Bakayoko, Alonso.
Yeah, great squad they had. Absolutely
Costa, Courtois, Cahill and Christensen.
And that time we went up there, Chelsea had only conceded, I think, like 1 goal in like 10 home games or something like that at that point. So defensively at home, they were very, very good. And just one other little fact that when I was looking back at some of these games last night, I believe this was the game that Callum Hudson-Odoi made his debut for Chelsea.
I think, yeah.
And he was the second youngest player to make his debut for Chelsea in the Premier League, I believe. I think he was 17, I think, at the time. I can't remember whether that was coming off the bench or whether he actually started the game. I don't know. I can't remember.
I think, and Max, you might be able to correct me here. I think he come off the bench, didn't he, in that second half?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he.
Right. Okay.
He did. I'm just trying to find out who was it he replaced. I'm just having a look now. Oh yeah, he replaced Acosta. He was on the right wing.
Right. Okay.
It was Acosta. So I've got it all written it down here, so it's fine.
El Sato's got his notebook and pen out, isn't he?
He's prepared. I'm doing it from memory. You know
what? I wish I could do it from memory, but I ain't got good memories. I have to write it all down.
You was only a youngster when this happened.
I'm a bit thick, so.
How old was he then? He was 12.
Yeah.
Weren't you? I can't remember, Max. I can't remember how old you were at the time.
Yeah. Should have a better memory.
When we beat Chelsea away?
Yeah.
Oh, God. No, I was 13.
13. God bless you.
Yeah, God bless me, mate.
God bless
you.
There we are. Next.
Oh, look at this one. Now, this was an amazing game. 4-0. Absolutely tore them apart. Tore them a new one. I'm going to say it now. Brooks was absolutely unbelievable, as you can see. And, yeah, Josh King there going absolutely crazy. This was a complete performance at Dean Court, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a little story about it, but I'll let Max go first.
Go on, Max. You carry on.
This I actually wasn't at the ground for this one, but I was watching it just live on Sky Sports News. Yeah, 0-0 half time. Right, then I'm pretty sure it's 90 seconds into the second half because they show the goals, don't they? I can't remember who was it. I'm trying to think who was it that crossed it in the box because it was a tap in for King. They basically squared it. It was like a 2-on-2, but it was just a cross in the box and nice tap in for King. And then who else was it? Oh God, yeah, it was Brooks. He assisted the first goal.
Yeah,
and second one, that was a mistake at the back from David Luiz. I remember because I think it was him and Rudiger. Their distribution was crap. Literally, they tried passing it back, and Brooks ran straight onto it and just stuck it in the back of the net. And then King. That was a great ball by Stanislas. He assisted him in his own half because I remember he was running down the byline, just whipped the ball down the right hand side, and then it was a tap in. Wasn't a tap in, but what was I going to say? King just placed it straight into the top corner. Kepa no chance. And then to top it off, Charlie Daniels. Well, that was a really good header as well, what he scored, because it was a free kick in the 96th minute. I put a ball in, and then it was hit and hope with Daniels. He just flicked his head up and down just to try and get his head on it, and then it went into the bottom corner. Sent the keeper the wrong way.
Yeah, and of course the keeper that night was our current keeper, Kepa, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Louisa Balaga.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games that really stick in my memory. I mean, I remember getting the train to the game, and I remember being on the phone to, I think it was my nephew, who I was meeting there for the game. And I remember saying to him on the phone, "We're going to thump Chelsea tonight." Don't know why. I just had a feeling that we were going to win, but I said the word thump.
But it was a thumping, so you're not wrong, Matt.
No, yeah, true. But I just was really confident, and I don't know why. I mean, I think we had Wilson out with an injury at the time. Wilson wasn't involved in the squad, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was out injured, wasn't he?
Lerma was out injured, so was Francis with lacking match fitness, and Lewis Cook.
So it's quite a few injuries there, but I just had such confidence that there's nothing quite like an evening game under the lights anyway. And I just thought I was on my way thinking, we are really, really positive we are going to win this tonight. But like you've said, Craig, a complete performance. And David Brooks was, I think, phenomenal that night. I think that's one of his best performances in a Bournemouth shirt.
Probably, if not the best, actually. And I've got a little story as well, and I'm sure it is this game. You talk about thumping, Chelsea. I think I accidentally thumped Cherry Bear this game because I was sat there with my son. Of course, I think it was the second goal. Cherry Bear was there just beside me, and I kind of just ran up to him and nearly knocked his head off. But to be honest, he found the funny side of it. Just had to very quickly make sure that he kept it on.
Well, it's nice to see that you're attacking the mascot.
Yeah. Do you know what? Now I've mentioned that, if anybody's got any pictures of that night and can find that picture, I will pay you to send me that picture. I tell you what, I would absolutely love that because it's probably bloody hilarious as well. Me actually hugging Cherry Bear, trying to put his head back on. So yeah,
it was Jimmy Glass's job to.
Was this what goal was this when it went 4-0?
Yeah,
I think I might have seen that on AFCB TV on YouTube.
Oh jeez. Right, we're gonna have a look for it. Here we go. We'll save it till after. But if anybody has actually got that footage, I'm gonna have to watch it. Right, moving swiftly on. Sorry for beating up Cherry Bear. If you're listening, Cherry Bear, whoever you were, if it was Jimmy Glass in there, sorry, Jimmy.
No, Jimmy used to do a thing with Cherry Bear years ago when he was playing for us, and it was part of I can't remember what it was. Whether he used to used to run over and try and push him over. I mean, this is when Jimmy Glass was playing. I mean, I'm going back. I'm going back 25 years. So, he used to do a little spot with Cherry Bear. Used to make all us junior lot at the time, because I was obviously a junior at the time, a junior Cherry, used to make us a lot laugh. And and then you come along about 25 years later and try and deck him. So
do you know what? Actually, that would be great, halftime entertainment. There we are. If anybody from the club's watching, how about that? We'll put Cherry Bear in the centre circle, probably blindfold me and Jimmy Glass, because otherwise it'd be too easy. And the first one to push over Cherry Bear wins.
Yeah, probably not.
Next. Move on. Next. But this game, of course, 14th of December, 2019, Chelsea 0, AFC Bournemouth 1. And this was the game where Dan Gosling scored that ridiculous goal. And it was, we kind of played on, and then it was ruled that it was in through VAR, wasn't it? If I'm right.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah,
I'm sure I'm right.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Because it was GDS at first. They gave the goal. It went to GDS. I think it's goal something system, and then it was given, but they ruled it out again just to check for the offside, and the offside was clear, and they showed it was over the line by that much, and then it just finished 1-0. Because Gosling, did he bicycle kick it in the air and it went over the line?
He was kind of facing the other way, and as you can see in that picture on the bottom right, he kind of, how do I explain this? Kind of shifted his whole body and just hooked it over himself and over the goalkeeper. It was, if anybody, I remember it fairly well, but it was a remarkable goal. I think that's probably the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange finish, wasn't it? It wasn't your everyday finish, but I mean, at the time we needed the points there because these were well, obviously we know what happened at the end of the season, but at the time it was a massive 3 points because we hadn't actually picked any points up since the previous November, I think.
Yeah, we was in a bad form.
Was it United at home? We won 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Josh
Yeah,
King
we was in
controlled
very
it
bad
on
form.
his chest, didn't he? And he shot into the ground and off the bar and in.
Yeah, that's right. Because I remember that game very well because I rushed back from Wales. I was up in Wales. And I left Wales at 7:00 in the morning because wasn't it like a 12:30 kickoff on Sky or something? I remember
Yes.
leaving Wales early, and we had a storm, I think, the night before, so I didn't come through
Yes.
Bristol way. I went straight across to Newbury and down.
Yeah, it was
I think I got there for about 10 to 12. So, it might have been about 8 or 9 o'clock I left. I can't remember now, but yeah, I do remember rushing back from Wales for that game, and yeah, that was our last win then, up until this one. And I think we had some injuries here as well. I think we had quite a lot of injuries then. I think wasn't Wilson out again?
Wilson was out because Solanke, as you can see, just behind Dan Gosling, was on the pitch, and was King playing? I can't remember now.
I'll have a look.
You're going to need to help me here, Max.
Hold on, mate. Hold on.
Wilson was definitely out.
What was it? Hold on. What was this? 2019.
2019, 14th of December 2019.
Yeah, King was the one. Solanke is the one that replaced King in the 75th minute.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. But Wilson was injured, wasn't he?
Lerma was the one that assisted Gosling. And then Gosling got booked a minute after. I don't know if it was for taking the shirt off or something. I can't remember. But he got booked in that game.
I think it was if I remember correctly, I think he did make a little bit of a rash tackle afterwards. I think he was just so, but it was just a remarkable goal. Or it might have been arguing.
This game capped for Bournemouth since Bournemouth were promoted at the time in 2015.
Yeah.
No other side had won more games at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League than Bournemouth, with 3 wins, and they were level with what other team?
Bloody hell, that's a tricky one, to be honest.
Yeah.
I reckon Chelsea's bogey club probably is Bournemouth.
Yeah, but there was another side since 2015 at this time that had won 3 games at Stamford Bridge. One of them was Bournemouth.
I'll have a guess. Everton.
Oh, well, actually, in the right city.
Oh, yeah. Well, you've given it away now, haven't you?
Obviously, yeah, because I mean, what a daft guess Everton is. You got Everton on the brain. No, Liverpool. Yeah.
Hold on.
I got a funny feeling this game. I don't think Bournemouth played very well, from what I can remember. And when you look at the stats, I had a look at the stats yesterday evening. I think we had 2 shots the whole game.
We were struggling. And to be honest, things picked up, and started to pick up around the New Year's. And then just before we went into COVID, this is what pisses me off so much about that season. Right, I'm going to start a little rant here about this. This is what pisses me off so much about this season, because the thing was, we was in decent form when we went into COVID. Had the season carried on, without a shadow of a doubt, we would have survived that year.
100%.
Oh, can I say something?
100%,
Did you just fall off your chair there, Max?
No, but what I want, there's something that has wound me really. I can't swear because I'm on podcast, but I tell you what really wound me up is the fact that, do you remember the Aston Villa and Sheffield United game with the VAR? GDS?
That was a massive one, wasn't it?
Hawkeye, right? The referee even said it was a goal, but he couldn't give it because it was after the game, and we would have stayed up in goal difference, and Villa would have gone down.
I know.
And then we got given 150 million compensation. What's that going to do?
we had so much bad luck going into that. We had that situation. We had the VAR decision against. Am I right in thinking, was it
Burnley.
Yeah, of course, Burnley. That little shit on the left-hand side of that picture decided he wasn't going to extend his contract. I'm not going to say his name, but if you're listening to this on the audio version, you bloody know who it is. He's at Southampton now, so
No, we don't talk about them not on the
yeah,
M25.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I tell you what. Let's move on though to another famous win that's going to happen. And it's this one. Can we give Chelsea the blues again? Who wants to go first? I've got my,
I'll let Matt go first.
Do you know what? I'm feeling really confident. I know that they've obviously played 3 games, won 2, lost 1. Obviously, they lost 1 against City, their first game of the season. But do you know what? I've got a really good feeling that it's going to be a good game Saturday evening. I think there's going to be goals in it, and I think Bournemouth are going to edge it. I'm just confident. I'm confident, and I think our side's grown. I still think they've probably got some problems within their side from an outsider looking in. I don't think it's all rosy there yet. And I think at home and how we press high, I think, especially if we can score first, I could see us beating us. And I'm going to go with a 3-2 scoreline to Bournemouth.
Max, go on.
In all fact, is Palmer playing?
Mate,
Didn't he get a knock against Palace?
Well, we're not Chelsea's medical staff, are we? Just
I'll tell you what.
Whoever they start, mate, they've got quality all round. They've got about 98 goalkeepers, haven't they, that can play in goal? That's why we've got one of them. So
they're in trouble with PSR.
What do you think about the game, Max? What do you think about the game? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I reckon it's just going to be a bit of light work for us, to be honest. So I reckon
light work.
3-1.
Light work.
Yeah, 3-1.
Right.
3-1.
Well, if we can beat them 4-0, right? Well, it's not hard to score 3. Well, let's not say that, but I think with Iriola, right? He's took the team really far, and I reckon he's going to do well on the night with the team and himself.
Excellent.
Because he's really good. One thing as well, he's really good at making subs at the right time. Proved against what's it called? Everton, Craig's favourite team.
Your favourite team. I can remember that video you did. And
the turd that can't be flushed.
You hate them. You hate them.
No, mate, no, because Matt was falling off his chair. That's because I said they're like a turd that can't be flushed.
Right, I tell you what. Shut up about Everton. Well, I'm going to have to refer to them in a second, but in positive lights. I'm going to make it a hat trick. And I think that we will beat them. Now, of course, after you finish watching this, go and watch our opposition preview show with Chidge from the Chelsea Fancast. Because they've got all manner of problems across that squad. It's not just the ownership issue, which is an absolute shit show anyway, but it's the players as well. What they've got is they've got a team of very, very talented youngsters. But can they combine it? They can combine it against Wolves, but they can't do it against Palace, and they definitely couldn't do it against Man City. I personally think, and one thing that Chidge did say was against Palace parked the bus, they couldn't get through them. I think that if we play like we did, in that 8 minutes against Everton, but in that 8 minutes that we did against Everton, I think we will tear them apart. And it's not because they're, individually they're good players. They don't feel like a team to me. The manager, Enzo Maresca, is a manager that had Leicester absolutely firing on all cylinders early part of last season. And it's just it completely collapsed at the end, where they were lucky to stumble over the line. I think we will absolutely tear them apart. I think it'll be a close scoreline. I'm going to go for a 2-1, but I think it'll be convincing. They won't be able to deal with the high press. That's a problem that Chidge did bring up, is the high press. I think we can control the game if we want to. And what I mean by controlling the game, it's not doing tippy-tapper stuff at the back, but Iriola has now got it in his mind and, can control a game, can keep a lead. And with that intensity, I honestly, and plus, I don't think Enzo Maresca knows who his best team are. So I'm going to make it a hat-trick, and I'm very, very confident about this game. I'm very, very confident. I think, if anybody is doing an accumulator and wants something that probably will pay out a little bit, I personally think that this might be, the game to actually go for. Of course, I've got to say at this point, gamble responsibly as well. Yeah, don't start taking. I'm not an expert.
I think it's we can't ignore them. They're quality. They've got quality players. Obviously, I know obviously from the match.
It's just what happens in the
preview
day.
show. Obviously, with what someone who watches Chelsea week in, week out, knows obviously a lot more than what we do, but we can't be completely ignorant. But I just got that feeling. I just got a good feeling. When you look at your fixtures and you look at the games that are upcoming and that, and sometimes, when you got that feeling, I just got that feeling that, and maybe it's from the excitement from the Everton game, maybe that, I'm thinking, from that we can, have a, real good go at it. But there's been times after international breaks, as everyone will well know, that sometimes we are not very good after international breaks. After, you get a little bit of momentum going, and then you get an international break, and then you've got to kind of get into it again. But I don't know. I've just got a good feeling about this one. A real good feeling.
We can't do what we did against Everton, for 87 minutes. There is, that might work against Everton because they're crap, but it won't work against a team like Chelsea. It won't work against most of the Premier League clubs. So if we can play like we did against Newcastle, like we did in that 8 minutes against Everton, which, to be honest, that 8 minutes is probably some of the best football I've seen us play in the Premier League.
I mean, Semenyo's kick-started it off, didn't he?
It was just like a switch had been hit, and all of a sudden, everything had just moved into a row that we was trying to do. If we can play like that, I would be very confident.
If we play like we did the last 8 minutes against Everton, right? If we play like that the whole game, you may look at me like I've got no ball knowledge or not, but we could do them like 6-7-0, like a whitewash or something.
No.
Bloody hell! Now you're getting carried away.
If we played like that, we probably could.
I tell you what, if we win 7-0, if we win 7-0 against Chelsea, Max, I'll make a promise and I'll streak all the way from Sandbanks to Boscombe and back naked. Nobody really wants to see that, but there you go. I tell you, and on that bombshell, I think we need to finish.
If we can score 4 against them, why can't we score more?
Max is streaming.
Oh, Max, I think it's getting late, mate. I think you need to get your head down.
Max, it's not FIFA. It's not FIFA or whatever.
It's not FIFA. It's not FIFA on amateur mode, is it?
No, I'll play on Legendary, actually.
Do you?
Oh, dearie me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm bloody useless.
I remember playing.
What is it called now?
FC, yeah. But I think everyone still calls it FIFA, don't they? But
yeah, I remember playing Matt back in the day. Do you remember?
Do you remember? Mate, doubt it.
This was when we were in the championship.
I was playing Sensible Soccer the other day. That's a game and a half. I tell you what, I think we better end on that note. But we have got guest a Cherry, so
Oh, yes. Yes.
Take it away. Let's make it full screen as well.
Right. So am
want
I
me to
going or
read?
you go? Wait,
I'll read through the bits and you can do the reveal. There we are.
right, go on then.
There we are. So he was born in Reading in 1986. He signed for the Cherries from Hampton and Richmond. He played 130 times in a Cherry shirt, hitting the net 3 times. Eddie Howe paid in the region of $350,000 to take him to Burnley. He finished his playing days in Scotland with Livingston, and he was the manager of Queen of the South, but it does seem that he's gone into broadcasting. And believe it or not, I have been told that this person is from the exact same village in Reading, Tarlehurst, which I'm from as well, albeit that was told to me by somebody in a pub, so you can't really take it as a gospel. But, you know, because I'm a Bournemouth fan, he was like, oh, he's from here. So, any guesses, guys? I know who it is.
Well, I obviously do.
Well, yeah, because you
and do you know what? Max ain't going to have a clue. So, let's do the reveal.
Yeah, go for it.
And this week's cherry is...
Eddie Mitch.
Marvin Bartley.
There he is. Marvin Bartley. Yeah. Supposedly he is from the village of Tarlehurst. But like I say, it was told to me by somebody in the Butcher's Arms. So how true? Yeah, it could be bullshit, to be perfectly honest. But he is from Reading somewhere.
Isn't there another one?
What's that?
Another guess of cherry, because last time we did 2, didn't we?
No, we did it. No, we did it last week. Don't worry, Max.
Not last week. Oh, a month ago.
Yeah.
A month ago. No, we've done
it's
that.
All good. It's all good.
It's all good. It's all good.
All good.
I'm sorry, I just nearly fell off
There
the
we
chair
are.
then.
I think Max is going to go and play some FIFA. I'm going to play sensible soccer. I don't know what Matt's going to do.
You should do, Craig. You should do a stream, because I watched your stream the other day on PlayStation, mate. You did. You did that up.
And on that bombshell, we need to end.
You know what I'm gonna do? I dug a book out I ain't read for a while, so I'm gonna get myself into a bit of that.
There he is, Harry Redknapp.
Do you know what? I've got the programme. When we played Swansea at home in the Premier League, when we finished 9th, I got the programme against Swansea, and it's got him on it, and he signed it. It's at home.
Yeah.
There we are. There we
Cool.
are. You're going to read the programme from Swansea from a couple of years back.
Oh, Craig, we've got to look
anyway,
Craig,
that's
we've got
it.
something.
Let's go. We're going.
We're going. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.